The FDA officially grants full approval of Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine, the first vaccine to move from emergency authorization to full approval. So joining me to break this down is the CEO of Pfizer, Albert Bourla. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Kira.
Well, let's begin with the fact that this is clearly a big step for science. But even in this big moment, Albert, there are still a lot of people in this country who are mistrustful of the vaccines for many different reasons. So why should people trust this approval?
There are several people that still they are not convinced and they have fears and this is an emotional reaction. To have fears, and you cannot just explain it with data and science. But some of them were claiming that because the vaccine didn't have a full approval, that was the main reason for their reluctance. So finally, we have that. And that should be a good reason for them now to go and get vaccines. And as they are going to get their vaccines, I'm sure the other people will also see them and will get more comfortable.
A bit of a domino effect. So, especially as a parent, I want to know, how soon will we see approval of the vaccine for kids under 12?
We are working very intensively on that right now, and this is a very, very large study. So for kids between 5 and 11, I expect that our studies will be completed in September, by the end of the month. And then we will submit to the FDA, and then it's up to FDA to do the review and approve it.
That soon? So you're sticking to September?
Yes, we are sticking to September, and we know how important it is. You know, it's not only the U.S., but we are receiving calls from so many governments around the world that they are urging us to accelerate the studies for kids because they know that the school season is coming, and that could become quite a big issue with the kids being unprotected. So we do everything we can to accelerate this timeline.
So now that this vaccine has been fully approved, doctors are able to prescribe it off-label, as you know. The head of the FDA has actually said they wouldn't recommend that for kids under 12 because the normal dosage may not be appropriate. So what are your thoughts on that, both for kids under 12 and for booster shots?
I think that it is not for me to speak about off-label use. Actually, there are very strict rules that they are not allowing pharmaceutical companies to discuss publicly off-label usage. What I can say, it is that the product is approved for kids 12 and above, and that we will submit data by the end of September. We haven't submitted them yet about kids between 5 and 11.
Okay. Well, as for booster shots, then, what do you think? Will this be 3 and done, or will this be a yearly shot, like what we do with the flu shot?
We don't know. I don't think anyone knows certainly. But what I had said in the past as well, way back months, was that based on the totality of the data, I predicted that we will need a booster dose at around 8 months. And then after that, likely will be an annual revaccination. For certain reasons that we can discuss, I came to this conclusion. I still believe this is a likely scenario. I don't say this is a certainty, but this is a likely scenario.
All right, well, what about people who received the J&J vaccine? Should they be looking to Pfizer for a booster shot now? Is it safe to mix and match these shots?
Again, this is not for me to speak about something like that. The regulators and CDC are the ones that should make recommendations. I know that there have been studies that really try to understand this situation. They work, but this doesn't mean that in the U.S. We have either approval or recommendation to do so.
Okay, because we are following what is happening overseas, so we'll continue to follow if the decision is made here in the States.
It's happening in many countries. It is true that in many countries, the authorities over there, the CDC equivalent, they have recommended boosters on AstraZeneca or J&J.
Got it. Now,
with mRNA vaccines like us.
What about the reports of myocarditis? How are you going to continue to monitor this side effect?
We are monitoring because we have access to millions of data, and we are having very intensive surveillance system, pharmacovigilance system, so that brings to us all the data. As I said, so far, this is a very, very rare event that is happening a few in a million of people. So it's really very rare.
The Pfizer vaccine is more than 90% effective against infection from the original coronavirus. We've talked a lot about that. But recent studies found that the effectiveness starts to wane over time, possibly due to the Delta variant. So, Albert, do you agree with concerns that if a new variant comes along, that the Pfizer vaccine could become ineffective? And if so, how are you planning for future variants?
Thank you, Kira. It's a very good question, and we have established, particularly through our partnership, the research partnership with Israeli Minister of Health, a very good surveillance system. In Israel, they have used our vaccine, and they have 10 million people approximately, and they have electronic medical records. So they have a very accurate medical history for every citizen of Israel. And we did see that there was a reduction in the infections, not that much in hospitalization at that time. And we try to understand, because we worried, is it because our vaccine is not effective against Delta, that was at the same time the dominant variant, or is it that after 6 months, the vaccine starts to wane, the efficacy of the vaccine? And after analyzing the data, we came to the conclusion that it is the second. The cases that were appearing in Israel were cases of 6 months old, and it was a very different situation in cases of 3 months old. So we continued this, let's say, analysis of the data, and right now we feel very, very confident that a booster shot of the same vaccine will be very, very effective, actually more effective than a booster, the second dose of the vaccine against the Delta variant. And that we are monitoring not only with the study data that we have, but also we are doing real-world efficacy observations in Israel. I need to tell you that we are developing a Delta-specific vaccine. We are developing a Delta-specific vaccine because this is something very important. I cannot take a chance with global health and just, based on my certainty, not have something ready in case we need it. I am almost certain that we will not need it. But as I said, I couldn't take the chance. If we don't need it, which is what I am predicting, we will put it on the shelves. And we will continue with boosters of the same vaccine. If, in any case, I'm wrong, we will have a vaccine against Delta, which is specific.
And if we do need the Delta-specific vaccine, how soon would that become available?
Very soon, because we are working, as I said, like if we need it. I know that we don't, but we are doing all the studies, all the manufacturing work, so we will be able to have it. Our policy is that every time that a variant appears, our scientists are getting their hands around it, and they characterize it as a variant of concern or not. Variant of concern means something that may escape the immune protection of our vaccine. For those, we are having a plan that within 100 days, actually 95 days, we will be able to have a new vaccine made. So this is where the efficiency that we have achieved right now. We started already the work done. So I think we will have it by the end of October, November, if it's needed. But I don't think will be needed, I repeat again.
Okay. From your mouth to God's ears. Pfizer CEO Albert Bourla, appreciate your time today.
Thank you, Kira. Thank you very much.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.